Hey, everybody, and welcome to the HERstory Collaborative. My name is Jen Buck, and I'm your host here in the Collab. I'm a professional speaker, a nonprofit founder. I've written 5 books, and I'm also an executive strategist that helps women specifically move the needle in their career. Now, my speaking and training business is focused on advocating, activating, and amplifying high-performing women. And that's what the HERstory Collaborative is really all about, trailblazing women who are changing their little corner of the world. Now, this week's guest is absolutely changing her corner of the world. My next guest is Lesley George. She's a book writing strategist and 2-time best-selling author. She's also an award-winning diversity strategist and creator of the Diversity Academy, which is within her company, Mosaic Inc. She has a new television show that she will be hosting called Are You Wearing Your Pink Shades? I cannot wait to see what that's about. Lesley believes that we need to show up as ourselves and celebrate all of our differences. Her famous phrase is that we are all uniquely the same. How much do you love that? Welcome to the collab, Lesley.
Oh, Jen, thank you so much for having me here. And I love the title, right? HERstory Collab. That's just amazing. It's just a space where we know that we can show up collaboratively together. So thank you so much for having me here today. I know that we're just going to have a good time, just having just an amazing conversation. So thank you
Yes.
so much.
Yes, I agree. You're so welcome. And, when we had our pre-interview talk on the phone, I knew already that I had met someone who I will definitely keep in touch with afterwards, because I just feel your spirit is so strong for helping others and making sure that we're showing up the right way for each other. And that just makes my heart sing. And I love that that's the place you come from, It's an amazing thing.
Yeah, thank you so much. You said it makes your heart sing and it makes my heart swell. So I just love how we're just connected in that way. Because at the end of the day, it all comes from the heart, right?
Yeah.
So it really comes from the heart and how we feel. One of the things that I say all the time is that people don't care. That's a phrase. People don't care how much you know. They care about how much you make them feel. And that's one thing I'm very intentional about, is just spreading these amazing ripples into the world to make people, women all over the world, feel like there's somebody that sees them and hears them. So yeah, I'm happy to be here.
I love that. I had this aha moment, I guess 2 years ago, and I was trying to identify, like, when was I having the most fun at work? And I've had this long training and speaking career that spans altogether 34 years, but 25
Wow.
of them, have been independent and whatnot. But the point is, it's kind of gone from, a corporate environment, some technical training, service training. I've spent time on the road doing seminars and workshops and keynotes and then going into businesses. But I really wanted to think a couple of years ago, when was I having the most fun? And it was on the women's conference that I was on for 7 years. I did the national tour that would go around to all the cities. And it was the best time because it just brought women together to celebrate sort of that sacred feminine, that we all just we're sisters and
Yes.
we have so much in common, regardless of our differences. And it was the most fun I ever had. And that's when I decided I'm going right back to it. I'm making women my focus. And if I amplify women, we're all going to be in a better position. And so that was kind of my thought behind, putting women sort of at the center of everything I do, because I mean, all ships rise, right? When
Exactly.
the tide rises, we all rise together. And I just really believe that in every bit of my soul. So yeah.
Yeah, and I feel that talking to you. And, one of the things that when I started Mosaic Inc. is, as a kid, one of the things that you hear is that women cannot come together. Women can't come together and do anything. And I wanted that to be one of the myth busters, is me starting Mosaic Inc., where the core is women, the core is collaboration, the core is global, no matter what part of the world that you're from, no matter what language you speak, that we're just all the same. And we're all the same more than we're different. Like today, I was part of an interview with a young lady in Liberia, was interviewing a young lady in Kenya. And the young lady in Kenya, she's 29 years old, started this amazing company where she's helping children. She's doing all of this. And one of her phrases that she said is that we don't know what we don't know. and listen to somebody in another country where here I am in America. It's the same story. It's the same thing that we go through, right? It's no different. And that's like a lifelong mission for me, is to bring women together no matter where you're from, no matter who you love,
Yeah.
what you may believe in,
Yeah.
none of that. But when we all come together, one of the phrases I say is that we all want to live and laugh.
Yes.
We all want the same things for our families. And so that's when you see me, I am a walking billboard for that. Anybody that's in my space, they know that, yeah, that's the chick
Yeah.
that wants to bring women together no matter where you're from. And I have fun doing it.
Awesome. So tell me what Mosaic Inc. is doing. Like, what do you have going on? Because I know you do a lot of strategic direction in terms of
Mm-hmm.
helping people write books, because you are a best-selling author. I know you also are an award-winning diversity and equity trainer, and and inclusion. And I know that you've got courses coming up, and you do. I mean, you have so much going on. Tell us about what Mosaic Inc. is all about.
Awesome. Love that question. So, in terms of book, right now, putting together 20 women and literally all over the world. And we are launching volume 2 of my first book, International Day of the Girl, A Walk in Our Lives. And the second book, volume 2, is about the pandemic. So, what is it that women have learned during the pandemic? And now, how can other people pick this book up, and how does that resonate in their life? So that is going to be launched on International Day of the Girl 2021. So October 11th, 2021. And we are looking to have a fabulous time, although it's going to be virtual because, like, one of my authors, one is in Canada, one is in Liberia, so different states. So it is an international book being put together with all these amazing women, and I'm excited to just read all the stories, because one of the things that I do is I don't read the stories until the end. So I let everybody else, the publisher, everybody else put it together. I don't want to read them. I
Really?
want to be surprised just like everybody else,
Yeah.
right? So I'm like a kid in a candy store, because for me, like the first time that I did this, it was absolutely amazing how all these stories from all these women that they did not know one another. And that's the other beauty. That's another gift that I have, is that I bring these women that did not know one another. We come together with a byproduct of a book. But at the end of the day, some amazing friendships are formed, some partnerships are formed. And that just makes me just all swell up. So that's what we have doing coming out in October. That's like the big thing in October, our signature event. And July 31st, I have a course coming out, Women in White Spaces, and that is to highlight women. You have women in tech, you have women in different fields, you have women, different races in certain industries, certain areas where they may show up as the only Black woman, the only Asian woman, maybe the only white woman with a bunch of men.
Yeah.
So it is really to highlight different things, and for us to kind of take a little walk in each other's shoes, because at the end of the day, I want to bring out that empathy, right? So if you don't know what I'm going through, and this really started after George Floyd, because I had a lot of my white girlfriends would call me and say, Lesley, what is it I can do? How can I help? And we would have these hour-long conversations. And what I took away, and these are women I've known well over 10 years, but what I took away is they never knew some of the things that I experienced as a Black woman in the workplace.
Right.
And so that got me thinking, and that's why I came up with Women in White Spaces, because we need to create that type of synergy, and
Yes.
especially in the workplace as well. There's enough going on in the workplace,
Yes.
right? So if you have all these women from different areas and there's more division, I don't want division. I like collaboration.
Right.
So that's what we have coming up the end of July. Looking forward to that as well. And in between time, there may be a VIP day that Mosaic may do. And also, I'm getting ready to launch my membership for the Diversity Academy. So I'm getting ready to launch that, because what I found, again, it's all about education. And my goal is to bring people together from different parts of wherever, create a collaborative space, and see how women can work together, because I believe that we are just all superstars.
Yeah.
So that's what we got going on.
Awesome. It's just awesome. You're a woman of my own heart. I have always so many areas spokes in my wheel that are always kind of moving. And I love that. I'm loving that you're taking this concept of women coming together to understand one another, but also come together for bigger purposes, right? And
Mhm.
I've been saying for many years that I think women could fix all of this.
Mhm.
I think that women, if we got all women into government, I'm
Oh,
this dead serious about this,
mhm.
all women in government, if we got all women into positions of leadership, into organizations and corporations and whatnot, I believe this would be a very different world if
I
we had
totally agree.
women in charge.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's I'm really passionate about that. I've sometimes gotten burned by this because I have, some men get their hackles up, whatever. But I have said over and over again, I think women do everything better than men. And
Yes.
obviously I'm not talking about things that might be I'm not saying women are stronger than men physically, but I honestly think women are just stronger and better at everything when it comes to interpersonal interactions than men, and leadership included. And so I love that you're centering that. I just think it's so powerful. But here's my other piece of this, or I should say, and I
Okay.
love that you're making this about understanding what
Mhm.
those white spaces are like for women of color who are in.
Mhm.
And as you know, this is a big piece of my life, trying to bridge that divide and get people, women, I should say, together to understand one another. But one of the things that my co-host, that I do a program every Thursday that's called Hard Conversations, White Women, Black
Mm.
Women, Let's Talk.
Ooh, love that.
Yeah. And it's really powerful and really painful and yet
Mhm.
really eye-opening. But one of the things that my co-host always says is that white women, you have to understand something. We know everything about you and your spaces. You know nothing about ours.
Mm.
We've had to learn how to be in your spaces. We've had to learn how to communicate, code switch. We've had to learn how
Yes.
to be seen as an equal, but you
Mm.
know nothing about our experience. And it's so important that we have these kinds of discussions. So kudos to you for having, the Women in White Spaces course, because I think it is magnificent when we see women start to get it
Mhm. Mhm.
together. It's huge.
You, you mentioned code switching, so there's code switching part of it. There's microaggressions, that's
Yeah.
part of it, and the biggest thing is allyship, right? Because I believe prior to George Floyd, and I'm going to say for myself as a Black woman, I did not know how to communicate allyship,
Mm,
right? So, how many Black women we had in corporate that did not know how to communicate
mm.
allyship? Yet you have white girlfriends. So if we don't know how to communicate that, they don't know how to show up for us.
That's
And
right.
I think that's the biggest piece. One of
That's
the biggest pieces is that allyship piece, because we know there's spaces we will never go into. Let's just say that. We know that. But on the other end, if your white sister knows that, she can now advocate for you.
that's right.
And for many years, that's how we felt, but I don't think we knew how to verbalize it.
Yes.
Because until my friends were brave enough to call me, Lesley, how can I help?
Mhm.
What's going on? I
Yeah.
don't understand. I think of that as bravery because for me, I was clueless. I
Yeah.
did not know that they didn't know. I assumed it's not anything we ever talked about. We did not talk about it, right? But I was totally clueless, and I was never really in my feelings, but during the George Floyd situation, I really got into my feelings. And I have one girlfriend, when the verdict came out, she texts me. On Juneteenth, she would text me, "Are you okay?" So now what I have now is a group of white women around me now that understands, where before I would have assumed they knew and they didn't. So here we are, we're just two of us. We thinking, one thinking the other thing, the other one's thinking, and certain things never came up. And
Yeah.
I would say that now I am totally comfortable having those tough conversations. Why they need to be had. We
Yeah.
need to have those conversations because at the end of the day, what do we have in common? We're all women.
Mhm.
And because we're women, we have struggles.
Sure.
We have additional struggles based on where we come from, our language we speak, who we love, and how we worship. But our foundation is that womanhood, that sisterhood.
Yes.
That should not be rocked for anything. And that
Absolutely.
is my mission. That's my huge mission in life.
Ah, I have goosebumps. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So tell me, how did you get here? I mean, this is
Mm,
this is all extraordinary, but I want to know, who were you as a little girl, for instance?
mm.
Like
Okay.
what brought you here?
Okay. So my dad is from Greenwood, Mississippi. I'm from the Caribbean. So I call myself a hybrid, right? So because and my dad was in the military, so we traveled all over the world.
Mhm.
And I think that's when those seeds just started being deposited.
Mm,
Because from a young child, I understood cultural diversity.
mhm.
I embraced it, and especially being from the islands where all you see is tourism, right? So I love my childhood for giving me that,
Yeah,
really and truly, because that is who shaped who I am
right.
in terms of non-judgment and realizing that there's greater bonds. I love to hear a different sound, a different accent. Those things just like, it just does something to me. And I love to hear the backstory of, first generation Americans or first generation whatever, and the parents where they came from. Those things excite me.
Yes.
So those seeds were planted from a very, very young child. And I say to people, Mosaic Ink is not a company that I started. I'm a walking Mosaic Ink. That's who I am. And let's just take that a little further. Just the name. So you look at a mosaic tile.
Yeah.
You have different shapes, colors, sizes, textures. That represents that unity. So
Yeah.
even that was even on purpose.
Love. Color creates a beautiful picture. I mean, it makes
Yes.
perfect sense. Different
Yes.
shades, different hues, different sizes, different, curves and angles, and yet it creates this
This beautiful.
picture.
Exactly, right? So my aim is you don't need to hide, right? We need to come to a point where you're speaking to an Asian sister and she's celebrating her culture, whatever, and we're good with that.
Yes.
I say one of the things about diversity. So diversity is asking me to come to the dance, right?
Mhm.
And then the inclusion part is can I ask the DJ to change the song?
Mm.
And then the belonging piece is, well, shoot, let's all just get up and dance, even if we've never heard the song before,
Mhm.
right? So it's just that understanding of us just coming together and celebrating.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I never saw, especially here in America. What I don't never saw growing up and don't see is how you let somebody show up
Mm.
as themselves. That is the important piece because guess what? If I don't show up to work as myself, you may think I'm doing 100% of your job, but there's no way I can.
Mhm. Right.
So
Wow.
we need to be able to show up in our full totality
Mhm.
in whatever that looks like.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Powerful stuff. So, my audience is primarily women.
Okay?
Shout out to the guys that are listening. Hi, dude.
A few brave men.
Hi. But mostly it's women, and I think it's because I've always been sort of a girl's girl, and I love women, and I love lots and lots of big groups of girlfriends and things like that. But I also, as I mentioned, I make my entire business about amplifying other women, and I always try to find new ideas that can help these women. What would you say today as you're looking at women that are starting businesses? We're seeing more women opening businesses right now than we have ever seen before, right? And so what would you say to women who are sort of within that, journey of growth, and they're pushing forward, their needle's actually moving? Like, what kind of advice could you give to women to help them? Because it's not always easy, right?
Mm-mm, no, it's not. I think one of the things I love the law of reciprocity, and I think that law really does a lot. As you're forging ahead, it is not easy. There are times it's going to be rough, but be very intentional of mentorship.
Mm,
I don't think we talk about that a lot. Because here's the thing, no matter where you get to in your level of your business, you're always pulling somebody up.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're pulling somebody up, what is that doing for your business as your business is moving forward?
Yes.
So that's something that usually people don't talk about. But I want to throw that nugget out there
Yeah.
as something for someone to think about, and whatever that mentorship looks like. Because now, since last year, 2020, women are now in a great position, like you said, starting jobs, starting businesses and so
Yeah.
forth. What can that do for the next generation of women coming up?
Yeah. Absolutely. I always
And
think that I'm sorry, I cut you off, please.
no, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I always think that it's so amazing when I meet women who get the full arc of the story, that yes, I have arrived or I have achieved, right? But
Mhm.
I'm reaching back for the
Yes.
women who need me now to
Mhm.
sponsor them and help
Yes.
them, right? But then
Yes.
also paying homage to the women who broke that ceiling before,
Ooh.
which is allowing me to get in, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And that
Mhm.
kind of reverence, I think, is so important to be able to
Mhm.
see. It's not just me arriving,
Mhm.
hey, I made it. It's this is because of the blood, sweat, and tears of the sisters and mothers and aunts that came before me, right?
So true.
Yeah.
We
It's
got we got to honor them ancestors.
Mhm.
We have to honor those ancestors. So that is, that gave me goosebumps.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a full circle because there's so much sacrifice that they had to do. You know, we
Totally.
have amazing opportunities now. You and I on a Zoom.
Yeah.
You're in California. I'm in Florida. That's amazing how we can connect. Now we can use our voices on a podcast,
Yeah.
on YouTube. Amazing.
Yeah.
So we need to honor them ancestors.
Yeah. For sure.
Hmm.
So I want to ask you some questions. These are just
Okay.
speed round questions, and they're just fun questions that I kind of throw at you. And whatever comes to mind, you can just give me your quick answer. And it's just 10 of them, and I like to just sort of shotgun them at you. Are you good with that?
Sure. Let's go.
Okay. First question. If you had an hour to sit on a park bench with any woman from history, who would your
Mm,
woman be?
my grandmother.
Nice. Nice.
Hmm.
What's your favorite place that you've ever visited?
The Seychelles Islands.
Oh, I bet.
Mahe. Beautiful.
Oh,
Absolutely
I
beautiful.
bet. If you were given $1 million to give to a nonprofit organization or charity kind of thing, where would you put that money?
Mm, I would duplicate something like what Oprah had.
Mm,
Oprah has in Africa, where you have young girls that are just totally taken care of from whatever age till college.
yes,
That's what I would do.
love it. Love it. It is all about learning.
Hmm.
Learning is what equals opportunity, period.
Hmm.
Story.
Hmm.
And I feel so um I guess the word is I feel very fortunate that I chose to be in the world of learning. And a lot of times people think that I chose to be in the world of entertainment because it looks so entertaining, but I feel really
Mm.
strongly that I'm an educator. I just happen
Hmm.
to do it in big flashy ways, but I'm an educator and I just
Yes.
think that it is the answer to opportunity, period. So
Period.
I am with
Period.
you on that. What's your favorite book of all time or your favorite podcast?
Favorite book or favorite podcast? That's a good question. God, I listen to so many pods.
Throw some at me because I'm a pod junkie.
Oh God, yeah, I can send you a whole list. I'm gonna go with John Maxwell, 2021 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership.
Yep,
I'm gonna go with
excellent.
that.
Extraordinary. Yeah.
Hmm.
Actually, that's a book that I probably read 15 years ago and I still quote it to this day.
Amazing.
That
He's amazing.
yeah, that tells you the lifespan of great
Hmm.
wisdom, right?
Yep.
Love it. What is one quirky or wacky fact about you that maybe not a lot of people know?
Quirky. I love to race cars. I
Yeah.
love cars. I do, and I have a 17-year-old daughter that she just amazing. She's like me 2.0. That girl can quote any car. She can tell you the different parts of a car. Yeah, I love cars and I love racing.
No, I love that so much. I'm a total daredevil, but I've never actually raced cars. So that is fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. This next one I love. If you had, or if you could have a superpower, think about it.
Mm.
What would yours be?
Superpower. A real superpower to just touch people to make them think differently. So when we're thinking about when we're touch people and they will now have this tremendous love for things that they may not understand.
Okay, that's a
Yeah.
really good one.
Yeah. That would be it. That would be it. Yeah.
Okay, the next question. So I'm not necessarily talking about like family because I know that obviously the best answer would be something like family, but I'm talking about a thing. What is your most treasured thing in your life? Like heirloom or whatever, it
Mm.
doesn't matter.
Okay, so I have two.
Okay.
So one, when my I think I was probably 15 or 16, my sister gave me this little inexpensive black jar, ceramic black jar, and I've had that for decades. It broke. I got some tape and taped that together, and I put my earrings in that. So that's one. And then my husband, we've been together. My daughter's 26, so you can only imagine.
Yeah.
He gave the first perfume he ever gave me back in 19 1992. I still have that perfume.
Oh, that's so touching. That's really sweet. Obviously, family is your everything. I can put those two things together. That's beautiful. Okay, my friend, this is a hard question for some, but I love
Okay.
this question. When
Okay.
you're walking on stage and you've got 50,000 people in the audience and you are at the, I don't know, Miami Convention Center and they are there to hear you speak,
Mm.
what song are you strutting in on? What's your opening song as you walk in?
Beyonce, Girls Run the World. We
No
run.
one has said that. Yes. I love it so much.
we
It's
run this.
great.
We run this thing.
Yes, that is the best. Okay. What is one thing that you want to accomplish before you're sort of done with Mosaic Inc? What do you want to hit?
Besides my overall arching mission for women to really come together and really see each other. That's a lofty goal, but maybe do it cities at a time.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Yeah, maybe cities at a time, maybe something like that.
I love that.
Yeah,
What's the
yeah.
best word to describe you?
Curious.
Nice one. Okay.
Yeah.
And the last question, when I'm really, really old, I hope to see.
I just hope to see so much love among. I just want to see like groups of women of just all shapes, sizes, tribes, whatever, just in love, just hanging out, just girlfriends.
I love
Yeah, that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see.
Me too.
That's what I'm. Yeah, and then I want to see other young women take up the mantle that I've put out there and just continue with that because it is continual work. It's not a one and done.
Yeah.
So it's continual work, and so as generations come on, new generations, that's just something that they automatically expect because it's something that they've seen. It's something that's been in the world. So, oh, that
Me too. Me too.
oof.
Good one. That is such a good one. In fact, such a good one that I officially just changed mine to yours. So yes.
Oh,
Mhm. Yep. I love
that's
it. It's a
that's
beautiful,
oof. That's yeah. Oof. Oh gosh. Oof.
just power.
Oof.
So my friend Lesley, where can people find you? I want
Ooh.
everybody to go to you. Run, don't walk.
So I'm on Clubhouse as the Diversity Diva.
Mhm.
I am on Instagram as The Mosaic Inc. I am on Facebook, The Mosaic Inc. My website is themosaicinc.com. I think those are pretty much it, I believe.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. And as a reminder, you have in August, you have something
Yes.
coming up. So you want to say that one more time?
Yes, so women in white spaces. That's going to be released soon, and you can go to any one of those handles that I mentioned, and you'll be able to click on a link and join us.
Awesome. I absolutely love it. I've enjoyed this so much. I enjoy you so much. I have the same
Yes,
feeling right now than after I got off the phone with you the other day.
yes,
And so I
yes.
just really want you to know how valued you are and how
Thank you so
appreciated you
much.
are. You're just
Thank you.
a really, really neat woman, and I really enjoyed you. And before we go, I want to make sure I give a quick shout out to our sponsor, who is 100 Angels. They do incredible things within the Phoenix community, and they work with families who've been financially devastated, and they provide them with health care and food, clothing, shelter.
Wow.
They provide support of all kinds. And so if anybody tuning in would like to be a part of 100 Angels, you can go to 100angels.org and support them any way you can. So, my friend Lesley, let's do this again somehow.
Most definitely. And you talk about me, but you've created an amazing space to uplift women. And so you do my heart good. You make my heart swell. So this was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And everybody else, we will see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.